Hello Stampers, this is Amy Rich with amyrich.stampinup.net. I am back. Man, it's been a while since I've done a Stampin' Sunday, but here I am back again. And I am going to focus on my alternate project for the paper pumpkin from February, Grown with Kindness. And here are some of the features of the kit. I've got some of the stamps mounted already, but I did have a Facebook Live where I talked about this paper pumpkin kit a little bit, so I won't go too much into it. We're just going to start with this card, and we're going to cut it apart a little bit. We're going to first cut it at 3 3/4, and then turn that and cut it to 5 1/4. Then we'll take what's left and we're going to punch a piece out with our 1 3/4 inch circle punch. We're going to be careful though. We want it far over to the side. Now the best gauge to where to put it is put it way to the edge and in as far as it goes. Okay, and we won't need that. We'll discard that circle. And then we'll go back in with our 2 1/4 inch circle punch. And then what we do is make a little frame. So just eyeball, make sure that is relatively even. So we've got ourselves a little frame. All right, now we'll cut this part off at 2 3/4. And then we'll turn that and cut it at 4. And then here you can see there's a little bit of the scored line left. We'll discard that part and just use this bottom part. And then we'll take what's left here. We're going to cut that scored piece off. So that's just a scrap. And then we're going to cut this at 1 1/2. Then we're going to cut a piece at 1 3/4. And then we've got 2 more pieces there that we can use for our project. So we've really used just about every little piece of that card that we started with. In the meantime, I've taken a piece of smoky slate cardstock. The original piece is 12 by 12, and I've cut it 5 1/2 by 12 long. And I've already done some scoring, so I'll show you what the scored marks are. You score at 1/2 inch, at 4 inches, at 4 1/2, and at 8. And then we're going to fold those all kind of in here. Then we're going to go back to our 3/4 inch circle punch. So we've got our 1/2 inch. We're just going to flip that so that the 1/2 inch is to the right side. And then using our 3/4 inch circle punch again. I have the old style yet. Maybe it's time to break down and get the new one. And just try to have it even from the 2 scored lines on either side and push it all the way in. And then pop that out and again discard that circle. All right, so then we are going to go back to our trimmer. And then one of our pieces of beautiful designer series paper that comes in the kit. Now this is about 4 3/4 inches. We're going to cut it in half, so that's at about 2 5/8 inches. No, 2 3/8. Sorry. Okay, so that we've got it cut in half, and you can decide which half you're going to use for this project. And then we are going to just adhere that kind of close to the top and between, oops, I'm glad I checked that. I'm going to need to trim some more off. All right, let's go back. Let's go to 3 1/4 inches. There. Now maybe we can get this put back. It's good to have all the scored lines folded so you can see what you're doing. All right, so now we're gonna, on this panel here, we're gonna kind of center that at the top so that when you close it, your window will, in your window you'll see those succulents. All right, then over on this side, we're going to take some of that paper that we cut from the card, and we're going to attach that over here. And then a piece of fresh fig that I've cut 3/4 of an inch by 4. And we're just going to layer that over the top. All right, now I think we're ready to put the card together. Using our tear and tape, we'll just put that across the little 1/2 inch flap. And now what we want is for this to fold. We want the card to fold up against that. So we'll take this and we'll just push it so that you see it's a little diorama when you open it. So it's got some dimension. I hope you can see that on camera. All right, then we're going to take the circle that we had, and we'll just use some multi-purpose glue for this. Dot, dot, not a lot is what the kindergartners learn at our school. All right, and then we'll stick that on so that it just frames out the hole. All right, so we'll set that aside to dry for now. We're going to work on the front of the card. First of all, we're going to take a piece of fresh fig that is cut 1 inch by 4 inches. And we're going to adhere that across the card. It's kind of a guess, but you want to leave about the same border left and right, and then you know, maybe 1 1/4 inches or so from the top. And remember that extra piece we had before? We're going to cut that at just under 2 inches. So it's 2 by 4. Then we're going to use our triple banner punch and just punch the bottom. Slide it all the way in and punch it so it's got a little banner. So next we'll adhere that onto the card. We want it sticking up above the fresh fig piece here. And then we're just going to add some fresh fig ruffled ribbon. So I'm just going to add some adhesive across the top and then in the back, so that we can just fold that over. And now this will go on the front of our card. And I like to go over the ribbon with my adhesive so that it helps it sit flat on our card. So now the reason I had that fresh fig cut a little bit longer was so that it went across the entire card and not just the background piece. All right, so now let's go to these little pieces. There is a little fresh fig stamping spot in the kit, but I'll just grab my big ink pad. And our little rectangle here will just get a thank you. And the big one says, "You're the reason I smiled today." Very sweet. So we've got our 2 words. Then we'll adhere those both with dimensionals. The thank you one, I'm actually going to put both dimensionals kind of close to the bottom because it's going to sit up over the ribbon. Like so. And then when I open up and do the other one, I'm going to put them on 3 corners, leaving the upper left corner free. And the reason for that is when I open this card, I don't want the dimensional to make it so that it won't come up off the, it won't make it a diorama if it's stuck down. All right, so that's the base of my card. One more little element is that I took the cup with the succulent in it and I stamped that in tuxedo black memento pad. And then we're just going to color with our blends. So I've got the smoky slate, granny apple green, and then just the dark crumb cake, and that's going to be our dirt. So for that one, I'll just color. For the succulent, I'm going to take the dark granny apple green and I'm going to do some highlighting, especially in the middle where it wouldn't get much sun. So that's kind of our shady spots, those dark areas here. There's no scientific rhyme or reason to this. And then I'm just going to take my light granny apple green, and I really like the circular motion. And you go over those dark spots really carefully, and then it'll blend in with the light granny apple green so that it provides a little bit of shading. Hopefully you can see that there. If you want to add a little dark somewhere, like here, I'd like a little bit more dark probably. So I'll add a little bit more dark and then go back with that circular motion to shade that together. And hopefully you can see how that's gotten nice and shaded. And from the magic of television, here we've got a completed cup. We're going to use our dimensionals again. And open this up, and we'll just adhere this to the inside of our card. So there we've got a really cool diorama, pop-up diorama card that you can make in not too much time, and it's just a cool look when you can see those succulents through the window. So I hope you've enjoyed my project today, and I hope you come back and see me again for another Stampin' Sunday.